Hello, welcome to Good Morning Glendale. I'm Robert Heidt, President and CEO of the Glendale Chamber of Commerce. And today we have the honor of having Angela Hughey, founder and CEO of One Community with us. Welcome, Angela.
Robert, how are you? Thank you so much. It's great to see you.
Great to see you as well. So, let's talk. You recently had a great milestone your organization has championed over in Mesa. So great job on that. But before we get to that, tell folks who may not know who Angela is or what One Community is and does. Take a moment or two and share that with us.
Sure. Thank you again just for the opportunity. It's great to spend time with you. And for folks that don't know about us, One Community is a 12-year-old organization. We're a member-based coalition of businesses, organizations, and everyday Arizonans moving diversity, inclusion, and equality for all Arizonans forward. Probably best known for our Unity Pledge. It's the largest equality pledge in the nation. And we are always championing LGBTQ inclusion in our great state. We believe in a state that is sustainable and truly welcoming and open for business to everyone.
Well, it's definitely a mission that a lot of people can get behind and support. Angela, now you founded this. What prompted you to go out and break away from everything else you had done and launch into One Community?
Robert, thank you for the great question. I was actually working in the Hispanic community, and I saw a bunch of Hispanic community relations peers go through title changes. They all became multicultural community relations managers. And so at that time, again, 12, 13 years ago, I asked my peers if they had investment dollars for the LGBTQ community. They all said yes. But they didn't understand enough about the complexity and the diversity within the community. And so I came home to my partner. We started, really working out what was going to be the initial business plan to launch One Community. And then we emptied out our 401k and poured all of our money into what is now One Community. So 12 years old, and it's been just an absolutely remarkable journey for both of us. And I think for our members and for the business community and really Arizona as a whole.
Well, I can tell you as the head of a chamber and leading our business organization for our community, it does matter and make a difference. We met a number of years ago and we quickly hit it off, became friends, and our chamber has been hopefully a long standing partner and champion to your organization. Having the ordinances and diversity inclusion out there does matter and make a difference. It enriches our communities. We can tell that in the quality of life and the talent we bring, the workforce, that sort of thing. I have to thank you because you worked with our chamber to help us craft our ordinance a number of years ago. And I'll be honest, for those that are listening that may not have been part of the chamber that many years ago, but we had a very diversified group of leaders around the table, of which you had folks that were very faithfully committed to their religious beliefs and things like that, and then folks a little bit more progressive and everything in between. And we worked through and got an ordinance passed for our chamber as part of our policy statements. And it was unanimously done. And so I can't thank you enough for your partnership, and the bottom didn't fall out. It was a great thing to have an organization like yours lead us through. I know there's a lot of work to be done here in Arizona. What would you say that you find as the biggest barrier of that conversation piece to advance inclusivity and diversity in and around our area? Because one thing I know about you, and I think everyone would agree if they've attended one of your annual events, they know when Carrie says, when Angela says she'll meet for coffee, she will meet for coffee anywhere, anytime, which is a true statement. But what do you see as that obstacle that we can't get to that statewide ordinance for diversity and inclusion?
So, Robert, first and foremost, I want to go back on some of the comments and comment on some of the wonderful things you just talked about. So, I think it's really important from a chamber standpoint that people understand that the Glendale Chamber has really truly been our most vocal and visible supporter from a regional chamber of commerce standpoint. So, number one, I want to thank you because I think that it is important that when we're leading, we're not leading quietly, that we have the audacity and we have the courage to be out on issues of LGBTQ inclusion.
It's something you said before, Angela. I don't want to interrupt you. Sometimes you said organizations are not defined by what they do, but what they don't do. And Correct. So that's such a true statement. So I just wanted to compliment your phrasing of that at once upon a time.
Well, my pleasure, my friend, and it is truly an honor to walk beside you. I think that really so much of this is really about education, and one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is really myth busting. But also, it is so imperative to build a really broad based coalition of everyday individuals living within a region or within our great state. It's so important to have a bipartisan coalition of business and community leaders and faith leaders. The reality is, if we want a sustainable Arizona, we were looking at this incorrectly. It's not that the bottom will fall out if we treat people fairly. It is that the rising tide truly lifts all boats.
Absolutely.
So in order for us to have a sustainable Arizona, it is truly in our best interest to be LGBTQ inclusive and to adopt a statewide LGBTQ inclusive update. That really puts Arizona in a place where we're not just sustainable, but where we're more competitive. Because we don't have inclusionary policies throughout the state, we truly are at a competitive disadvantage when it comes to attracting top talent, when it comes to having new business, and business expansion in our region. And I look at Glendale, the West Valley is going to be really where the majority of growth is going to be in the next decade. And I see that. And then I see that millennials and Gen Z, their top priorities are living in communities that value everyone. So I see that there's work that needs to be done in the West Valley, in other regions of our state, in order to ensure that when you're bringing the business attraction to the West Valley, you're going to have the top talent attraction as well. That young families, vibrant families that are the community and business leaders of today and tomorrow want to invest and live and build their homes and family and their legacies in the West Valley in a place that is inclusive. So it's really vitally important that a city like Glendale adopts an LGBTQ inclusive ordinance. We've recently seen the city of Mesa do that. Mesa is the most conservative mid-sized city in the nation. And Mesa, under really great leadership and bipartisan support and business support and faith support and community support, 7 years in the making, Mesa has adopted an LGBTQ inclusive ordinance. They've done it because it's the right thing to do. They've done it because they want to attract and retain top talent. They've done it because they don't like being in competition with other regions in the state that are inclusive, and they're not, because that's never usually a winning outcome. And also because it's about the sustainability of the East Valley. And I think with your leadership and the help of leaders in Glendale and the West Valley, there truly is an opportunity to move Glendale forward in this way as well.
I agree. And I think it really comes down to it. You hit the nail on the head, Angela. It comes down to education and having conversations and open mind and understanding. We will continue to do our part to work alongside you and your great organization to educate, inform, and allow people the opportunity to understand what this means. Because really, one of the things it comes down to as a chamber sometimes is the workforce. And the accessibility of workforce. As you said, the West Valley continues to grow and has a lot of potential for continued growth, into the future. And so having a diversification of workforce does make a difference. And, Glendale is one of the largest chambers in the state, as you know. And I will tell you, there are many times, in fact, just recently, a business leader in the community shared with me their LGBT status, but said, I don't say anything out loud. I fear for my job. I fear for my, the reputation of the harm it brings to my organization or what I do. And, it's really disappointing to hear someone of prominence make that statement, and we're in 2021. So there still is a long road to go, and anything that we can do, we recognize the importance of it. It's thanks to my board of directors and the leadership we have around our table. I know we have some shared partners, community partners, things like that. And I think that's going to help the conversation, because having partners like Blue Cross Blue Shield who are supportive of inclusivity. For me here in the West Valley, now that Javier from the Coyotes is taken over, one of his top priorities is diversity and inclusion. So having other corporate partners step up to the table does help that conversation along in many, many ways. So, we're all in to help you and our community blossom and move forward in this.
Well, and to your point, Robert, You worked with your board several years ago to adopt an LGBTQ internal policy, right? That you said outwardly we are supportive of an LGBTQ inclusive ordinance. Internally, we as an organization are LGBTQ inclusive, and this is where we stand on diversity, inclusion, and equality. So as a chamber, you're leading by example. But when it comes to the conversation you had with a business leader who happens to be LGBTQ, but is concerned about coming out to business peers in the West Valley because he's concerned about, and he or she is concerned about reputational harm, that says that there's still a lot of educational work that needs to be done in Glendale. And it says that Glendale can and should do better, right?
Yeah,
So,
and that's what he said. He said, again, it's not that he's ashamed of who he is, but it's also the business he represents and not feeling inclusive and embraced. So, it hurts when you hear that, but it reminds me that there's great organizations like One Community and Angela and the great team there that just keep forging forward and working with partners. I mean, you don't do it alone. I know you are huge on partnerships, and that's what really makes the difference. As a chamber, I think I mentioned to you just recently, we had an intern. We're big on our intern program and working with our different schools, our school partners, college, universities. And we recently had an intern who identified as trans. And so it was very interesting for our team to learn and embrace and understand Alex. And so I think we're better for that. It was the first time in my 20 years of the chamber world that an intern had identified as trans. But I hope and I believe that we made him feel as welcomed as possible and get the best out of his internship as he goes onward. So again, you have to lead by example, and not everybody's willing to do that, but we certainly are. So Angela, aside from working on this, what are some of the things that One Community does? You have a great foundation. You put on some amazing summits where you're going out, again, educating. So share with the folks a couple of the things that you do that are your top 2 or 3 priorities for One Community.
We're living in a world of the pandemic, so all of our 2021 events are virtual this year. But we have some new exciting opportunities that come with this virtual reality that we're living in for 2021. So we have a brand new event that's called our Diversity Career Expo. This is a virtual career expo where businesses that support diversity, inclusion, and equality for all Arizonans can recruit talent from around the state. It's kind of cool that our expo is virtual because it really does give us the opportunity to connect with talent across the state. We believe that the expo will happen more than once in 2021 because as we all become more vaccinated and more people get out in the greater area and then are moving around more and more, we think more folks are more job opportunities are going to open up. So check out our Diversity Career Expo. Very excited about that. Our big Point of Pride Summit we do every June. We're super excited. We partner with the Phoenix Business Journal on that really talks about the business of inclusion. We have great panel discussions, remarkable presenters from around the state. Again, really educating on the importance of a diverse and inclusive Arizona, which is, of course, a sustainable Arizona for all of us. We also have our big Unity Summit, which we're so excited about, which brings all of our diverse communities together. That's a really, really remarkable panel and presentations, literally with leaders from around the state and our nation. And then, of course, our big luncheon, which we're always so proud to have the Glendale Chamber as a center stage sponsor for, is our Spotlight on Success Local Heroes Awards, which was virtual last year. We believe it is highly likely it will be virtual again this year. And I think that we've really understood how to take programming into a virtual setting so that it feels really good for our sponsors and it feels really, really good for our honorees and our attendees as well. So that's a little bit of what we've got coming down the pipeline in 2021.
The impact is profound. So again, not only the advocacy side and the education side, but the engagement side is amazing. And you all stop short of nothing. Your annual event, I got to tell you, hands down, I know it was virtual this year. Neil from GPL was the main honoree. Each year, I have to tell you, and up until this past year, we were always in attendance downtown at the Sheridan. If you didn't leave that event and feel something, then you better pinch yourself, because I would leave and feel emotional. It was definitely impactful. The real world stories and the journeys and the challenges and sacrifices people that you've highlighted have shared really are profound. So kudos to you, because honestly, you and I both know you go to a lot of events and programs. You've been over here to our programs and you get into the motion, but that's definitely one that has great impact. So I can't wait till we can get back in person. If it's not in person this year, don't worry, we'll be there virtually. And if it is in person, we'll look forward to being there with many, many great partners. Angela, one thing, tell folks how they can get a hold of you and One Community. What's the easiest way for people to reach out to you?
So my personal email address is angela@onecommunity.co. We're a .co. You can always check out our website, which is onecommunity.co, of course. We are really good on social media too. Our Facebook and Twitter handles are One Community AZ. And then my personal cell phone, which I'm always open to giving, because we are open for coffee and conversation with absolutely anybody who wants to talk about an inclusionary Arizona, is 602-284-1418.
Nice, thank you. That's the one thing I can say, is that for any of our member businesses, partners, anyone watching this, if they do want to get connected to you, they can call the chamber, because the one thing you've always said is that while someone may not always agree with the mission and the focus that you all are working on, you're happy to sit down, understand where they're at, and you've been probably one of the best at that. There are times where we don't always agree as people in life, and sometimes we kind of go off into our own paths, but you've always been one of unity to bring people back together and listen and understand the differences. And it's about timing. And if it's not right, you're not pressured. You're trying to understand and work forward. So kudos to you for that, Angela. I can't thank you enough. And you mentioned the Unity Pledge. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that not the largest Unity Pledge in the nation?
It is. The Unity Pledge literally is the largest. We call it an equality pledge. It has spawned a bunch of smaller business-like equality pledges around the nation, but more than 3,300 businesses in the state of Arizona have taken the Unity Pledge.
Nice.
23,000 everyday Arizonans. It literally takes 1 minute at openaz.com. And I think the pledge is a very important first step on a business and organization's journey towards being fully inclusionary. So the pledge is incredibly important today and really helped us get to the places that we're at in Mesa. I believe will help us as we move forward in Glendale and hopefully Scottsdale, and as we move forward with our final goal being the state updating an LGBTQ and inclusive update. Those pledge signers really, really matter.
Well, it does make a difference. We signed on it, and I encourage every business to take a look at it. If they have questions, they can always call me here at the chamber, or we can connect you to Angela and her great team. Angela, one thing I know, you and I could go on all day long. We've had lunch, and then we're like, oh my gosh, we both have to get back because it'll be 4 o'clock.
We're like, oh, we forgot to eat.
There's a million and one things to do. So please know that on behalf of the Glendale Chamber of Commerce, we are here to be an advocate and support partner to you and your team. If there's things that we can do to promote and share out, please don't ever hesitate to let us know. I quite frankly tell our board all the time that I'm very proud of this partnership. And not because not all chambers are as supportive as we are, but because we were really one of the first to step up and say, this is the right thing to do, and we need to lead by example. So this is one of those partnerships that we are truly, truly proud of. And again, anything that I can do or Glendale Chamber can do to help One Community, we're just a phone call, email, or text message away.
Well, I know that Robert, and you know that I always take you up on that. I know that when we need something and we need assistance and we need a great ally and someone to support us and help us move important conversations along the way, you always say yes. And I'm incredibly grateful for your leadership, your advocacy, and most importantly for your friendship. We're a better state because of all the things you and the Glendale Chamber do.
Thanks, Angela. So for anyone wanting more information on One Community, you've got all the information from Angela, including her digits. So she threw out her cell phone number, which not all speakers do, but you have access to her and always through the Glendale Chamber. With that, we want to thank you for tuning in to Good Morning Glendale, and we'll see you next time. Angela, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely.